President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed an act of 1933 that set a minimum wage, although it was found to be unconstitutional. The first federal minimum wage that did stick came in 1938, and this set the minimum wage at 25 cents an hour. So, to see how it's changed over the years, I put together this chart. Today, minimum wage comes in at $7.25, and that's been the case since 2009. It's been the longest stretch without an increase. Of course, some states have higher minimum wages, and there are plenty of other caveats. But this federal level, it gives us a useful baseline. Now, to see the problem here, I've adjusted each of these years for inflation. Although minimum wage has climbed, $1 today, it's not worth what it was in the years past. Inflation, it's a hidden tax that we all have to pay. As a result, the purchasing power of minimum wage today, it's the lowest it's been in more than 70 years. And for this data, I used the BLS inflation calculator for the adjustments. And of course, there are many ways to calculate inflation. For example, there have been plenty of basket and hedonic adjustments over the years. But nonetheless, this shows a problem with minimum wage. Although, to play devil's advocate, is it really a problem? Many states already have higher minimum wages. And since living costs, they vary between states, shouldn't it really be up to states or local governments to decide? For example, we all know that California has much higher living costs. So here's how California's minimum wage has changed over the years to compare. But even with higher state minimums, many businesses are struggling to both hire and retain their employees. As a result, they're already increasing their pay and also adding additional benefits. And that's without governments forcing their hand. As Adam Smith eloquently put it, there's an invisible hand at work. There's natural supply and demand within the economy, and in this case for employees. But governments have really warped the natural order with their forced shutdowns, their massive rounds of stimulus, and other easing. In other words, the Fed, it's poured some really strong drinks over the past few years. Everyone has been feeling pretty good, and cheap capital, it's been sloshing around, pushing up asset prices. But now that hangover, it's starting to kick in, and it's just the start. The Fed has stopped with a lot of the free checks, and it's now hiking interest rates. If it keeps up with the current course of action, which is necessary given the recent inflation numbers, more people are going to need to take jobs without being able to be as selective. And now this really depends on how much further the recession goes, but that's a topic for another time. When it comes to minimum wage, I'm not sure on what's best. Like any complex system, there's a big set of trade-offs, both in favor or against a minimum wage or a higher minimum wage. Are you against a mandated minimum wage? Should it be set by the feds or state governments? Or should it be up to the businesses to decide? Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. It's great to see your insight, and it helps improve my understanding as well. Also, while you're down there, I'd really appreciate it if you just tap that like button as well as subscribe, because that helps out my small YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it, and thanks a lot for stopping by today. I hope to see you next time.